All right, beautiful people. Hello, I believe we are live. The lighting is a little bit different today. I might continue to rock it this way. I'm not really sure. However, we are here. Welcome, everybody. Wow, that is weird timing. Somebody must have subscribed to my channel just as I was going live. What is up? What is up, everybody? Welcome to the stream. I'm going to drop some live notifications real quick over in the Discord before we get started. Today, we're going to be talking about the fact that you can desensitize to anything. So this is an interesting one. Let's harass the Discord for a second. Let them know we're live. Then we'll see who gets first in chat today. All right, we'll send that a few times. We got Brian first in chat today. What's up, Brian? What's up, Gamer? What's up, Jennifer? What's up, Craig? Luis? What's up, guys? Welcome. Welcome to the stream, everybody. What's up, Lick? Welcome, guys. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope you're all doing fantastic. You can desensitize to anything. The point of today's stream. Interesting topic. What is up, Jay? Welcome. Hope you're all doing fantastic. Let me turn this down just a bit. All right. What's up, Paul? What's up, M? Welcome, guys. Welcome. What's up, Steph? We got a full house today already. Might as well go ahead and get started in just a second. How are you doing, Paul? How are you doing, Steph? How did you handle your situation today, Steph? How'd that go? Kayla, what is up? Sim, what is up? Welcome, guys. I don't think I've seen your name in here live before. Sim, is this your first live stream? Welcome. Even if it's not, welcome. Welcome, welcome. All right, guys. Let's see. I believe we can go ahead and get this one started. So you can desensitize to anything. Let's get this music out of here real quick. Let's get this music out of here real quick. Why did your screen go dark? It shouldn't be. Is it dark? It looks good to me. Is it dark? What's up, Kate? What's up, Maddie? You got an eye operation coming up on May the 9th, Craig? You'll kill it, man. How many times have you came to me saying you were worried about something, right, and then it turned out fine? It's going to turn out fine. I killed it thanks to you in coaching last night. Awesome, Steph. Awesome, awesome. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and jump into this one. You can desensitize to anything. Now, the reason I am doing this stream, been around 3 years on another account. Oh, gotcha. Okay, what's your other account? Then I'll probably know who you are. The reason I'm doing this particular specific stream, you can desensitize to anything, is because I've been doing this for a while now, and I noticed that there is an ongoing trend. I say that a lot, but there is an ongoing trend where people are truly convinced that whatever they're currently stuck on. Now, I know you can be stuck on more than one thing, and when I say stuck, I mean whatever your fear is at the moment, like, oh, God, Wonder Bro, or you see people in the Discord or in the chat in the comments saying things like, oh, God, man, I can't get over this one. I was able to get over my last theme. You know, I was scared about this, scared about that. I overcame that, but I just can't get over this one. Whatever's bothering me right now. You know, you see all kinds of different examples. People experience different things. It's the same boat, but people experience different symptoms or different intrusive thoughts. And every time you're in it, you are completely convinced that this is the one you can't overcome. I was able to overcome this one, that one, and this one. This intrusive thought no longer bothers me. This intrusive thought no longer bothers me, or this symptom no longer bothers me, or I can do this now and I can do that now. But this is the one, Wonder Bro. Guys, the amount of times I've heard that in the time that I've been doing what I do is ridiculous, right? This is the one, Wonder Bro. Like, this thought, I can't overcome this thought. This one has really drugged me through the dirt, and I don't see myself, it's drugged me through the mud, man. I don't see myself ever being able to overcome this one. It just causes so much anxiety, so much fear. No matter what I do, I can't seem to overcome this particular intrusive thought or a symptom. right? I can't seem to overcome this symptom. You know, I was able to overcome all these symptoms, and then they'll rattle off all the symptoms that they used to have, but I can't seem to overcome this one. Or I was able to overcome these situations, but when it comes to this situation, I really, no matter what I do, I can't seem to overcome this one. So there is people who are totally convinced that there is certain fears that they can't overcome, as there's certain thoughts that they can't overcome, and there's certain situations that they can't overcome. And I want you to also be aware that when you're in them, it feels like that's the worst. But if we could take you back in time, and this is just like a little side note, but if we could take you back in time and put you back into dealing with the old crap stuff that you've gone through before and overcome before, right? You would swear up and down that that stuff was the worst. So every time you experience something new, whether it's a new intrusive that scares you or a new symptom that scares you, you are going to swear up and down that it is the worst. How many people have been there? Show of hands in chat participation today. How many people have been there? How many people have overcome a certain symptom or a certain intrusive thought? They've gotten, over it. And then when a new symptom or a new intrusive thought comes in that really rattles you and causes you a lot of anxiety, you just swear up and down that this is the worst, right? Oh, this is where I wish I could go back to my old symptoms. I wish I could go back to my old intrusive thoughts. I wish I could change places with somebody else, right? Every time you're in something new, you swear up and down that it's the worst and it's the biggest hurdle that you've ever had to overcome. But if we could take you back in time and put you back in the old stuff that you used to struggle with, or have you switch places with somebody else, you would still swear up and down. I promise you would still swear up and down that that was the worst. And if it wasn't for this intrusive, you could get better. If it wasn't for this symptom, you could get better. And then the cycle repeats. Eventually you overcome that intrusive, or you overcome that symptom, or you desensitize to that intrusive. Something else comes along during your recovery, because you're always going to be sort of tested by different intrusives and whatnot. Something else comes along in your recovery, and then we repeat the cycle. You swear up and down that this is the worst it's ever been, and if you could only overcome this, then you would be fine. And then we overcome it, and then you say, if I could only overcome this, then I would be fine. Then you overcome it, and it's constant back and forth. That is happening because you haven't tackled the root problem, right? So we're stuck in this cycle where it's, oh, this is the worst. You overcome this, you move on to something else. Oh, this is the worst, and you overcome. We're stuck in that cycle because you haven't dealt with the root problem. The root problem being that you fight with every thought and every feeling. You ruminate, you argue with it, you worry about it. It's the same thing, different terms. Same thing, different terms. Eventually we get to the point that no matter what the intrusive says, or no matter what the feeling is doing, you do not go down the rabbit hole. You stand your ground, no matter how intense it may be, no matter how tempting, because it will be very tempting, it is. You stand your ground and you stick to your non-engagement. Hey, not going there, it is what it is. You see the thought, you say to yourself, okay, it's there, but I'm not buying into that. It's allowed to be there. And then you move on, then you rinse and repeat. You don't get stuck in rumination. You don't go down the rabbit hole. Until we practice that core skill, you're kind of going to be like a hamster in a hamster wheel, where you swear up and down that every new intrusive's the worst. If you could only overcome this, then you'd be fine. And then something happens. Maybe the situation takes care of itself if it's something you're worried about, right? And then you just move on to the next thing. You move on to the next thing. It's just this keeps happening, right? Because we have not tackled that root skill of staying out of rumination yet. Now, I don't want to get too off track with the point of this stream. The point of this stream is that you can desensitize to anything. So no matter what you think you're stuck on, no matter if you think it's the worst thing that's ever happened to you, if you think it's the worst one that you've ever had, even though we just explained that it doesn't really work that way, no matter what you are telling yourself about what you're currently stuck on, you can desensitize to anything. And in this particular stream, I'm just going to give some personal examples from my experience to prove to you that you can desensitize to anything if you are willing to stop the rumination, face these thoughts and feelings head on, instead of going down the rabbit hole with them, right? So some examples would be, back in the day, excuse me, that was probably really loud for you guys. Some examples would be, back in the day, I was utterly convinced that I would never be able to overcome my intrusives around the subject of going crazy. Now, this went to such an extreme that I was avoiding anything that had to do, and this is just a personal example. I had many intrusives that I would continue to get stuck on because I was fighting with this, but I want you to apply this to your situation. This went to an extreme. I went to such great lengths and extremes to avoid the topic that I would not watch anything involving anything remotely similar to somebody going crazy or somebody losing their mind or mental illness, or I would avoid that topic at all costs. I would do everything in my power, like I said, including going to some pretty extreme lengths to make sure that I was never ever triggered or had any reason to be triggered over this topic. I would avoid it like it was the plague, right? And I went to very extreme lengths to make sure that I could do this. Now, I was completely convinced that there was just no way that such an intrusive, or such a theme as they're called, that such a theme could be possibly overcame by me, right? Because it was just causing such crippling and intense anxiety that I was totally convinced there's no way that just living my life, right, getting back into life, doing normal things, and greeting these thoughts with acceptance instead of ruminating on them, just saying okay, and letting those continue to roll right through instead of getting stuck on them and following them. I was convinced that there was no way in hell that doing those things, those two things there, would be able to get me out of such crippling anxiety and symptoms over this particular theme. I was 100% convinced that there was no actual way. There was no actual way. And then over time, with enough practice and enough facing and enough accepting, I desensitized to that to the point where I was able to then not only not avoid the topic, but actually seek the topic out and watch videos on the topic, watch documentaries on the topic, and actually enjoy them instead of having an anxiety response to them, which is absolute proof that you can go from bedbound peeing in bottles to desensitized to pretty much anything, right? Anything. But it's going to come down to your willingness to embrace it and face it head on. Now, your brain's going to want answers. So these thoughts are going to be rolling in, crazy this, or whatever your thought is, this might happen, this might happen. Your brain's going to be rolling in with these thoughts. You're going to be triggered while they're coming and while they're going. But if you have a certain willingness to embrace these thoughts head on and have your only response be something along the lines of the non-engagement accepting inner voice, hey, you know what? Nice try. I'm not going to buy that and follow that and argue with that and ruminate on that, but nice try. And you kind of rinse and repeat that mindset of they come in, you accept when they come in, you don't go any further. You don't, we used to call it don't follow them, right? Same concept. They come in, you spot yourself worrying about it, you cut that out, you say, well, you know what, I'm not going to follow that, right? I'm not going to follow that any deeper than that. We come back to living, you do it again 15 seconds later. So instead of fighting with them, ruminating over them, worrying over them like you typically do, they come in, you accept when they come in, you give up on that temptation, you pass up on the temptation to fight with them and ruminate on them, you rinse and repeat, you get back to living. That is the two keys. If you're willing to do that, you can desensitize to anything. And the reason I can say that with such certainty is A, that's how the brain operates, and B, I've been there and I've lived it with many different themes that I was 110. When I say 110%, right, we could go way further than that. 152 million trillion percent sure that I was just never going to overcome these certain themes. Here's the problem though, right? You can desensitize to anything. You can desensitize to anything if you're willing to cut the rumination out. So the thought comes in, it causes you a bunch of anxiety, you notice that you're starting to worry about it and ruminate about it, you slap yourself on the wrist, not literally, and you say, no, we're not going to go there. You can desensitize to anything at that point, right? You can desensitize to anything if you're willing to do that. Now, if you sit around and worry and ruminate about every thought and you give every thought a ton of energy, of course, you cannot begin to tell your brain that it's okay, right? And where I see people fall short on this topic is that they're not willing to do that work long enough. They're willing a few times when the thought comes in to say, okay, we're not going to ruminate on that, right? We're not going to go there with that worry. They're willing to do that like twice, maybe, right? Twice. So, you know, it's one of those things where there's got to be dedication, right? There's got to be dedication. There's got to be repeated going into it with acceptance. It can't be just once or twice, right? It can't just be once or twice. So that's where I see people fall short a lot of the times, is that they're not willing to do the work on a repeated basis, right? They're not willing to do the work on a repeated basis. So, you know, guys, you can desensitize to anything, no matter what you think you're stuck on, no matter if you think it's the worst one in the world, this is the worst intrusive ever, and there's no way I could desensitize to it. You can desensitize to anything if you're willing to do the work and give your brain time to catch up. right? So that is the topic of today's stream, because again, I see a lot of people get stuck on this whole false belief that, oh, this one's the one that I can't overcome, or this one's the situation I can't overcome. This is the one thing that I can't heal from, right? And that's just total bullshit. If you're willing to put in the work, you can desensitize to anything, right? To anything, whether you believe that or not. If you're willing to put in the work, you can 110% desensitize to anything, no matter how much you really believe that this is just the worst thing, right? So that is the point of today's stream, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. We're going to hang out with chat a little bit. Steph says dedication is crucial. I find hope/blind faith to also be a huge element. Yeah, dedication is crucial. You can't accept a thought or a feeling once or twice and not ruminate and expect that to be enough. This needs to be a reoccurring sort of daily thing, right? This needs to be a reoccurring daily thing. It's not a one and done. Hit a bump in the road. I have anxiety over high blood pressure because being high because of the anxiety being high. How to overcome that? Same thing that you say you hit a bump in the road, because I know you said not long ago that you were feeling better. So what's happened is your mind has gave you an intrusive thought, and you have followed that down the rabbit hole. You have now developed a new fear. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to reverse that. Anytime that thought comes in, you're going to have to pass up on the temptation to ruminate and accept it. Keep yourself out of the rumination and rinse and repeat that, right? Rinse and repeat that. Let's see. Now, of course, if you have high blood pressure, you know that I'm not a doctor. You go and you get checked out by a doctor. I don't think you're saying you have high blood pressure. I think you're saying that you ruminate over high blood pressure. I don't, there's a huge difference there. Let's see. What's up, Sim? Still in here? What's up, Lick? What's up, Rich? Listening to you and just passed an outdoor rally for Teen Mental Health Awareness Day. Awesome. I don't think she's saying she has high blood pressure. I think she's saying she ruminates about having high blood pressure. I think that's what's happening here. I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure on that. What I can say is, if you have high blood pressure, go to the doctor. Right? Get that taken care of, and then of course use the advice. Not fighting it sounds an awful lot like avoidance, which in my experience does not make the anxiety. Let me try to wrap my brain around that. Not fighting it sounds an awful lot like avoidance, which in my experience does not make the anxiety. Yeah, you must be brand new here. So let's address this for a second. So not fighting it sounds an awful lot like avoidance. Let's address that first part. Not fighting it sounds an awful lot like avoidance. So fighting it is your attempt to make it go away. Fighting it is your attempt to ruminate enough that you get answers. Fighting it is your attempt to worry about it and ruminate about it to the point that you have some sort of reassurance. If you do that, you'll never recover. I promise. And the second part of your comment, right? It says, in my experience, does not make the anxiety go away. You're not trying to make the anxiety go away. So by accepting it and not fighting with it, you're proving to your brain that the tiger is not real. Your brain views these thoughts and these feelings as tigers. By not fighting with it, which is not ruminating over it, worrying about it, trying to get it to go away, you are proving to your brain over and over again that these thoughts and feelings are not dangerous and they're not tigers, right? This does not happen instantly. It takes a long time for the brain to catch up. And when I say a long time, I don't mean that you can't get rather quick results, but if you want concrete results, it does take a little while, right, for your brain to catch up. So it's not going to make the anxiety go away right away. I'm not saying you can't have a better day. I'm not saying you can't turn a day where you've been fighting left, right, and center into a day that's a much more relaxed day. But to get the concrete results, it does take time. There's a bit of a time lag. So when you stop fighting with these thoughts and feelings, which of course is you proving to the brain that they're not worthy of anxiety because they're not real dangers, threats, or tigers, it takes time for your brain to get that new message. It's not going to happen right away. So your goal should never be to make the anxiety go away, not in the moment. That'll happen in time as your brain catches up and your nerves start to heal. So your goal should never be to make the anxiety go away in the moment. Your goal should be to continue to practice not fighting with these thoughts, with these feelings, right? Because when you fight with them, and by the way, there is no... In your brain, you have what is called the prefrontal cortex, your thinking mind, and then you have the amygdala, which is responsible for your anxiety levels. When you try to use your prefrontal cortex to tell your amygdala that everything is okay by fighting with it, ruminating, worrying, it doesn't hear that, it's deaf to that. There's no pathways available from your prefrontal cortex to your amygdala to send the message that says, okay, I've ruminated and worried enough, you can calm down. That does not exist. It's actually not a part of your brain, right? So when you do that, all your brain hears is worry, worry, worry. That's the one thing it does hear, is worry, worry, worry. So not only are you wasting your time trying to fight with it, because literally on a physical level those pathways are not available, but you're also just telling your brain one thing, which is worry, 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 and that is going to cause the amygdala to continue to stay in high alert. So that is, I know you said you're new here. Hopefully that kind of gives you an understanding of what we do here. All right. Let's see. Well, you got to understand, David, that is what you're doing. By not fighting with it, you are running towards it. You couldn't be running towards it in any other better way than not fighting with it. Because fighting with it is your attempt to control it. And by not trying to control it, you are running towards it. So by not trying to fight with the intrusive thoughts when they are there and instead embracing and accepting them and saying, hey, you know what, if it happens, it happens, that is running towards them. Dropping rumination is running towards them. Dropping worry is running towards them. You couldn't be any more running towards them than in a state of non-fight, right? Because a fight is your attempt to run away, and a non-fight is your attempt of embracing and accepting, right? Does that make sense? What's up, Scott? This works 1,000%. Just 2 months ago, I had severe DPDR and crippling anxiety constantly. I followed this strategy rigorously. I can't say that. I can never say that word. And feel a million times better now. Thanks, Wonder Bro. Absolutely, dude. I thank you for dropping in and sharing your success. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Thank you for that. Yeah, so there must be some sort of misconception about how not fighting is somehow... Yeah, that comment confuses me a little bit. Maybe there's a false belief there that by fighting them, you're running towards them, when actually by fighting them, you're running away from them, because you're fighting them as your attempt to give yourself relief. And how could you be running towards something if you're attempting to give yourself relief by fighting with them, right? That makes no sense. So by not fighting with them, that is running towards them. Fighting with them is trying to run away from them to bring yourself some sort of relief. So, you know, maybe just a misconception there. Yeah, same thing though. So is it unnecessary to ask your brain to give you more anxiety? That's just an approach, right? I think you're missing the point. That's just an approach. It is an approach, right? So that is the aggressive approach. Ask your brain to give you more anxiety. You can do that, or you can not do that. It doesn't matter to me, as long as you're not fighting with your anxiety. And a fight is any attempt to make it go away. A fight is any attempt to give yourself reassurance. A fight is any attempt to make yourself feel better. As long as you're not fighting, you can go the aggressive route. You can say, give me more. You can go the more casual route, and you can say, hey, if that happens, it happens. You can go the humorous route. You can do whatever you want to do. As long as you are not trying to run away from and fight with the thoughts and feelings, then you can adopt whatever sort of inner voice you want to adopt. It doesn't matter to me. I've had people here that love the aggressive approach. I used it in the past. I've had people here that love the more neutral approach. Hey, if that happens, it happens. Not going to ruminate on that. I've had people here that like the humorous approach. The brain says something horrible is going to happen. They make a joke out of it. Okay, whatever. As long as you're not fighting with it, I'm fine with that. It doesn't matter. You're going to accomplish the same thing, because the words do not hold magic, right? The words don't hold magic. You can't just use a certain set of words, give me more anxiety, and those words have magic and somehow the brain just becomes better, right? The words themselves don't hold magic. It is the practice of no longer fighting with the thoughts and feelings that hold the magic. Right? You're no longer adding worry that sets the amygdala off, that tells the amygdala there's a problem. It's the no longer adding worry that has the magic that then in time the brain catches up and you start to heal, the nerves start to heal. That's what holds the magic. The words have no magic. They have no magic. It is the act of the words lead to you no longer adding so much worry. So whatever words you want to use, right, as long as it's not set in negativity and worry, you can use whatever technically words you want to use. If those words are rooted in a fight, if they're rooted in negativity and worry, that's not going to make your amygdala a very happy camper. It's going to piss your amygdala off, quite frankly. But as long as your words are not rooted in rumination and negativity and worry, you can adopt whatever sort of inner voice you want to adopt, as long as it is short, sweet, simple, cuts that worry right out, right, and you rinse and repeat that. You rinse and repeat that. So again, the words don't necessarily hold the magic. It is the act of no longer adding worry that trips the amygdala that holds the magic, right? So very good questions. I love when we get new people here that ask these very interesting questions. It's always good to get back to the basics. So, but yeah, there's a ton of comments, and I'm trying to address all of them. It's going to be difficult to do. How many people are in here today? This feels like a lot. Almost 50. This is probably the highest number of people we've had in a stream before. Anonymous, thank you so much for the $10 tip. I appreciate you. With the tip note says thank you. Thank you so much for that, man. We're on a 24-day streak. Link is in the description if you'd like to support the stream. Thank you so much, Anonymous. We are 40 away from the tip goal, guys. If you'd like to support the stream, link is in the description. Let's see if we can knock out a few more of these comments. Please, everyone, keep going and listen to Wonder Bro. I always told intrusive thoughts to fuck off, and it worked great, but you must do it continuously, even 100 or 200 times a day. So I'm going to elaborate on that just a little bit. So what happens here, when you're saying just fuck it, right? You're not worrying over the intrusive thoughts. You're not ruminating over the intrusive thoughts. Now, of course, that works for you because your attitude and your demeanor is, I'm not worrying about this, right? I accept that these thoughts are coming, but I'm not worrying about it. But for anyone else who wants to adopt Scott's approach, which is the approach we always talk about here, just worded a different way, make sure that you're not saying fuck off in such a way that you're like, okay, now go away and never come back, right? Because inevitably it's going to come back for quite a while. So you don't want to have the underlying worry there. Oh, God, I said it, fuck off, and it didn't fuck off, and oh, God, so just be aware of that. Again, it's not the words that hold magic. It's the act of no longer worrying that holds the magic. So just to clarify that. But Scott obviously did not have the worry. He had the right attitude, and that's why the words that he chose were fine for him. Thank you for all the purple hearts, guys. Really appreciate it. Let's see. Often the give me more anxiety approach backfires when you're doing it with the underlying agenda of trying to make the anxiety go the hell away. It's the energy and intent behind the words. I love it, David. Exactly what we're saying here. You're a smart man. I'm glad to have you on board with us. I agree with that comment 110% because, again, it's not the words that hold the magic. It is the intent. It is no longer adding the worry that holds the magic. So Luis says it's good advice and it takes practice to let the thoughts in and let them burn out. Since the thoughts change into such personal thoughts, it's like personal attacks, right? That's what the brain does. It knows that these thoughts are going to get you to worry. That's why it chooses them. Doing my best to not worry. Again, just read Scott's comment, how you have to do this back to back, right? And I want to very quickly scroll up a little bit here. Scott also says, right, he told everybody in the chat very plainly what he did, which was drop the worry, what we preach about here. And he says it works 1,000%. 2 months ago, he had severe, crippling DPDR. These are his words, not mine. Crippling anxiety. I followed this strategy, and I feel a million times better. But then he goes on to say that, yes, you have to put in a lot of work. You have to hold yourself accountable and responsible, and you have to do it quite often. So let's see. How do you damper down your amygdala when you have stomach panic attacks every day and internal tremors when around people in public? I try not to let it distress me. Never had a panic attack before 2022. So again, no matter what your symptoms are, this is very important. No matter what your symptoms are, no matter what your intrusives are saying, the same approach applies. Don't confuse yourself and think, well, how do I damper down my amygdala because I'm dealing with stomach panic attacks, right? And they're dealing with this and they're dealing with that. Same concept, right? Same concept. How do you do the work without the intention of trying to make the anxiety go away? Isn't that the whole point? We're all here trying to cure our anxiety, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with your goal being to heal. That is why everybody is here. However, in the moment when you're dropping the worry, how do you work with that? You're dropping the worry because you know it's pointless, because you know the science, because you know what's going on, because you know that the worry and the rumination is going to stress your nerves out. You're dropping the worry because you know the science, right? So you're not dropping the worry and saying, okay, where's my healing? Where's my healing? As long as you're not doing that, you're fine. You can have the intention of, I'm doing this to heal. That's totally fine. As long as that intention doesn't boil over into the moment, and then you're saying things like, oh God, I'm doing the work, why aren't I healing? Why aren't I? Because then you're just worrying again, right? So you can have the intention to heal as long as that doesn't boil over into more worry, right? You see how we come full circle with that? Wonder Bro, what are your thoughts when someone says, I've been battling anxiety for 10, 15, 20 years? I say that's not uncommon. Stop battling the anxiety and you won't drag it on any longer, right? You'll eventually reach that healing. People can be in bad habits and continue to do themselves for quite a long time, but it's in their hands, right? Once they learn the advice and once they really start to work on their mental, it's in their hands. So it's not uncommon to hear something like that. But I would tell that person, hey, let's do the work. Let's do the work, right? Outcome independence. I like it, David. Again, I'm happy to have you here with us. It's always nice to have new people. Do not try to make the feelings go right away. Only stop the rumination going down the rabbit hole. I love it, Scott. Yes, absolutely. Man, we have a full chat today, guys. All right, give me just a second. I will be right back. All right. Now we did get a little bit darker. Went to an anxiety support group, and it was crazy how new people felt their intrusive thoughts were worse than anyone else. Everybody, at least at the beginning of their journey, at the start of their journey, has a touch of special case syndrome, right? Special case syndrome. That's just going to happen. It's amazing how Wonder Bro started doing videos again near the beginning of the pandemic, right when he was needed most. I'm grateful. Thank you for that, Lick. Appreciate it. It's so easy to think you have dropped the fighting, the thoughts and feelings, when in fact you haven't at all. You've just been more clever and sneaky about fighting it. I actually love that comment. I love that comment because it is so true. So true. You're still up there in the head doing the fighting, right? And you've just kind of convinced yourself that you're not. That's why I always preach self-awareness here and how important that is. Not healed, still my journey, and asking how long it takes is just one of those questions that can make people feel stuck. Yeah, exactly. Everyone is different. It takes time. My perspective of everything has shifted. I'm more into philosophy and deep work now. Hey, that's awesome. Let's see. My own home feels so foreign, very common. Like I used to love video games in my room and all that. Now I can't sit in my room at all. I just don't want to be in there. I don't know. It's weird. Get your ass in there, right? Right. We gotta face this thing at some point. Let's see. I know I missed a ton of comments earlier. Let's see. What's up, Lucky? I used to have intrusive thoughts on my DP/DR, thinking I was going crazy. That has passed. I know I'm not, but my symptom changed to have a little bit of hyper focus on breathing. Any tips? Everything that we talk about here, again, don't fall into the belief that your symptoms are somehow tackled different than everybody else's anxiety symptoms. It is the same thing. We don't want to fall into rumination, right? We want to accept, we want to embrace, we want to face. Yeah, and that's a common one, people thinking that somehow their symptoms are different than everyone else's. I think it's a totally different topic. Wah, I'm going to call you Wah. I think it's a totally different topic. That's why when you're so addicted to obsession and rumination, you got to stay on top of yourself like a hawk. You got to keep yourself out of it. I agree, gamer. You do have to hold yourself accountable. You have to hold yourself accountable. It's such an addicting habit, and that's really what it is. It's such a habit that you got to stay on top of it. Again, that's why we preach self-awareness so much around here. Self-awareness, very important. Very important. Holding yourself accountable, right? Again, if you guys missed the accountability stream, I highly recommend it. Yeah, you got to cut it short. I absolutely agree, gamer. 100%. 100%. You say you are 100% recovered, or have you learned how to cope much better with anxiety? So there's this belief that once you have a sensitized nervous system, there is no such thing as desensitizing that nervous system, right? So first and foremost, I want you to understand that if you have a sensitized nervous system, you can desensitize the sensitized nervous system, right? It's only logical. Dr. Claire Weeks, sensitization and desensitization. So what happens is people think that they're going to reach this day, right? Like there's going to be this day that comes where they're 100% just this superhuman who never experiences stress or stress symptoms, never experiences worry thoughts, I experience worry thoughts, I experience stress symptoms when it's called for. So that's the difference maker. That's what I want you guys to focus on, when it's called for. My nervous system is not in a sensitized state to where every worry thought causes an overreaction of intense anxiety. My nervous system and brain is not in a state where I'm flooded with intrusive thoughts, but I am a human being, right? And you are too, and you always will be. You can't escape that. So you will experience stress response symptoms when it's called for. You'll experience worry thoughts as a human being from time to time. Will you be flooded with intense anxiety symptoms 24/7 and intrusive thoughts 24/7? No, you can get out of that. You can desensitize a sensitized nervous system, which is where I'm at. But am I a human being? Absolutely. So if you've got this idea that you're going to become superhuman, right, you might as well get rid of that. That's not going to happen. You're going to experience worry thoughts from time to time. That's a part of being human. You're going to experience stress response when it's called for. That's a part of being human. But can you get out of a sensitized nervous system where you experience 24/7 anxiety and intrusive thoughts? 100%. 100%. So don't make your goal becoming some superhuman, but make your goal realistic. I can desensitize my sensitized nervous system and have a healthy nervous system and get back to normal human being, right? But not superhuman. That's not what we're going for, because that doesn't exist. once you have been sensitized enough times, is it easier for your brain body to return to the sensitized state? It depends on your habits, right? It depends on your habits. So if your habits are really deep and really deep-seated in all of your negative fighting habits, then sure, you can sensitize yourself as often as you would like to. But if we build your nervous system up to be pretty strong and pretty healthy through this practice, and you've got those better habits now, it would take a lot of work for you to resensitize yourself. So it depends. It depends on you. It depends on you, really. You just need to practice doing this. Do not worry about not doing it properly. You only need to practice always. Yes, practice, practice, practice. I love it, Scott. Once my brain ran out of irrational things to obsess about, it then turned to obsession about obsession. Obsession about why I'm not happy, obsession about if I'll ever be normal, just more rabbit holes that you can pass up on, right? That's where the habit can lead you to. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Because, yeah, Steph, I mean, worry about anything is worry, right? Worry about anything is worry. It's never justified is a good way to put it. It's never justified. But thank you for popping in and sharing your success and the positivity, Scott. I really appreciate it. The only way is through, so take the steps towards and not away from anxiety. Love it, Sim. Thank you for sharing the Discord link, Steph. Appreciate it. Thought I was healed a while back and it crept back on its own. I didn't do anything out of the ordinary, but now I have this constant sick brain feeling, doing my best to just allow. I mean, that's what it comes down to, right? You're going to have ups and downs, just part of the cycle, yes. No fix-it mentality, I like that. Meds help a little. I know you're not a doctor. I'm considering a procedure called Stella blah 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 blah, which is supposed to reset fight or flight. I've never heard of that in my entire life, Paul, to be completely honest with you. Reset fight or flight. I guarantee all 50 people in the chat has Googled this now and are now trying to see if they can max out their credit cards to get the Stelala Dada Ganga Like a Block procedure. I personally have never heard of that in my life. Interesting. Interesting. Love the background music. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it, Sean. I pick very random playlists on YouTube. Copyright free stuff. Paul, bypassing symptoms won't teach you to manage the thoughts. That's the crucial part. Yeah, bypassing anything doesn't teach you how to build better mental habits, right? I made very bad decisions when I was going through anxiety, such as getting married to my girlfriend. Worst mistake in my life. I was supposed to leave her. I hope she's not watching this stream right now. I've already ruminated myself into a corner. I'm done. Yes. Yes. Well, see, that's the thing, right? That's the thing. Okay, and, you know, Paul's allowed to make his own decisions. It doesn't matter to me, right? It shouldn't matter to you either. But anyone who is very quick, right? And this is just something to make you maybe realize something a little bit more. Anyone who is really quick to read a comment and then think, oh my God, you know, this is the fix and jump on Google, well, you still got some pretty bad mental habits going on, right? So just something to be aware of, because that happens quite often. Somebody will make a comment and then, you know, somebody will latch onto that. Well, you know, apparently there's still a lot of bad mental habits there about not being so persuaded to give in to temptation to want to ruminate about something. Always remember that it will get better. Everyone, please keep trying. Your life will come back. Thank you for the positivity, Scott. Really appreciate it. Wonderbro, do you know the GTA 5 menu theme loop for 3 hours? It's such a calm background music. The GTA 5 menu theme, is that your way of relaxation? Interesting. Interesting. Very interesting. Hey, you know, if you like it, you like it. Not that it's not catchy. I do think it's catchy. All right, guys, we got about 15 minutes, man. About 15 minutes left in this stream. About 15 minutes left in the stream. If you'd like to support the stream, link is in the description. We're on a 24-day streak. I still have a problem with driving. It just doesn't seem like it's safe. Going 60 cars right and left, experience panic symptoms at the same time I drive on not very busy roads only. You know, it's one of those things where I can't force you and I can't tell you what to do. I can only give you the skills, and how you apply those in the situation is going to be up to you, right? I can only give you the skills, and how you decide to or not decide to apply those skills in any particular situation is totally going to be your choice, right? So learn the skills and understand that you can apply these skills. You know, it is completely up to you, bro. Once you've been to that, bottle stage because you're scared to get out. Once you've been there, geez. Dude, the GTA menu music is dope. That kind of reminds me of it. DC said, Steph, one thing I would tell my past self is to be consistent. I'm not 100% healed, but I'm almost there. I have stronger confidence in myself to be able to handle anything, living life like I'm healed. I love it, DC. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you for sharing the positivity. Appreciate it. Word, Elliot. DC, that's so amazing. Yes, it is. It will, Elliot. No doubt. No doubt. Put in the work, right? Put in the work. It just makes me so calm and mindful. Now I'm trying to remember, because I don't even really, to be honest with you, I don't remember what the menu music sounds like. I haven't heard it in so long. When I think of GTA menu music, I can only think of Part 4. I guess that had the biggest impact on me. I don't know. Really enjoyed GTA 4. Thank you guys, man. Thank you guys for all the positive comments today. For me, I forget how far I've come and how much I've dealt with recently. I'm doing pretty damn good, even though if I feel like I'm losing it. I've come a long way and need to keep grinding. I love it, Elliot. I love it. Yes, the likes. Thank you for reminding everybody, Steph. The likes do help, guys. They do help a lot. I really appreciate it. No, absolutely, Paul. Like I said, I can't tell you what to do. Nobody can tell you what to do. You're allowed to make your own decisions. But with that being said, of course, you know, it doesn't hurt to apply the advice here. It doesn't hurt to learn this advice. And no matter what decisions you're making outside of the channel, that's all up to you. You're your own person, right? But yeah, definitely try to apply that advice. Try to apply that advice. For me, I forgot how far I've come and how much. Have I read this? I'm not sure how much I've dealt with recently. I'm doing pretty. Yeah, I did read that, didn't I? Yeah, I did. After the advice, there's no going back. That's one way to look at it. Yeah. Couldn't even be alone for a couple years there, and I've been alone all day, every day since my pops was gone now. It's wild. You know, it's one of those things where it's like a shitty situation, but you've learned a lot about yourself, and you've grown a lot as a person because of it, right? Because of it. Thank you for liking the stream, Robert. Really appreciate it. I've been trying to use acceptance in. Maybe there's more to that comment. I'm not sure. Acceptance on phobias. Gotcha. Not a bad idea. I've suffered in the past, and doing this makes it go much quicker and in a better way, exactly as Wonderbro has said. Thank you for the support, Scott. Appreciate it. Hello, Mr. Craig. Trust process, let go of control. Love it, Sim. But yeah, Lick, you can absolutely apply this advice to more, it's a good way to put it, more specific fears. Rich. Thank you so much, dude. We might actually hit this tip goal. Guys. Thank you, Rich. Show some love in the chat to Rich and Anonymous. We are at 20 on our 50 tip goal on a 24-day streak. We are winded down in about 10 minutes. Thank you guys so much. We'll see. We'll see what happens with it. We'll see what happens. Doesn't your brain store anxiety? You got to think of it. This way: the more you have anxiety and stressful experiences, the more easy it is for situations to trigger anxiety responses, especially when you have horrible mental habits. Right? So, of course, you're going to deal with this stored anxiety coming to the surface. But if you've got the correct mental habits, we can allow these stores to release, and which they will. Don't get me wrong. You're going to experience plenty of things during your journey where this anxiety is going to come to the surface, and that's fine. So if you want to view it as your body's storing it and releasing it, if you've got the right mental habits to go along with that, you'll stop adding to it. Right? Does that make sense? And eventually you see where I'm going with this. You'll empty that all out. In fact, I did I think it was a video a long time ago about how it's like taking a dump. Difference between giving up and accepting, that can pretty much be the same thing. It depends on your intent. Giving up, as in I'm no longer fighting with thoughts and feelings, is a great decision to make. It is the advice, right? Giving up in a positive way, right? There you go. That's one way to put it. That's one way to put it. That's one way to say it. It's pushed me beyond my norm, and it's helped me in a weird way, but I do miss him. Understandable, Elliot. Understandable. At least you're making the most out of the shitty situation, right? So the anxiety is not stuck in your body for life? No, absolutely not. It's just like taking a dump, right? It's just like taking a dump. Yeah, I would stay off Google. Honestly, at this point, with as much as you know, because you do seem to know a lot, I would stay off Google. That would be my highly recommended suggestion. Of course, I can't control what you do. That is just my suggestion. I would say at some point the advice has got to be put into play, because the information phase can drag on for the rest of your life. You can spend the rest of your life gathering anxiety information and never use it. Don't let that happen to you. Don't let that happen to you. Thank you for that. Kate says, follow the advice. I promise you won't regret it. Appreciate it, Kate. Yeah, so just stick around the community long enough, David. Stick around the community long enough. You'll see a lot of people like Scott jumping in and out of the streams, in and out of the Discord to share their success and their recovery. Just stick around. Stick around. But Gamer makes a good point too. Anxiety is just also an emotion. Now, for a sensitized person, of course, there's a lot of built-up anxiety. This is all just like taking a dump. And if you've got the right mental habits, you can stop adding to this problem, and your brain can catch up and heal. So yeah, just stick around. Get off Google, Facebook, anxiety groups. Yes, agree with all of the above. Reddit. Those were the first three things to go for me. Yes. Because are you really, not fighting with your thoughts and feelings anymore if you're trying to find the missing piece, right? Are you really doing what you're supposed to be doing at that point? Or is it just more worry, which is, of course, setting that amygdala off time and time again? Got about 8 minutes left in the stream, guys. We're going to be winding down in just a bit. If you've got any more questions, feel free to ask those questions. Though times were tough during the pandemic, I have nostalgic memories. Things don't seem so bad over time. I like that. I like that perspective. I like that perspective a lot, actually. Let's see. I'm going to check something real quick. $21 likes, 40 people in here. 21 likes, 40 people in here. Let's get those likes up, guys. I'd really appreciate it. Does anyone get that thought that tells you just to just do that compulsion one more time, that you don't ever have to do it again? Yeah, it's a lie of anxiety, right? One of the biggest lies ever told by anxiety. Then it's just to the next one and the next one. Hear you, bro. Also meditate. I just want to do normal things without anxiety again. And the irony there is, the more you worry about how you want to do normal things without anxiety again, 100% going to experience more anxiety, because any sort of worry is going to set that amygdala off. So we want to reduce the amount of time you spend doing that. You're not going to be perfect, but we do want to reduce the amount of time you get involved with fighting every thought and feeling mentally. I really enjoy the way you advertise that there, Steph. Nice. I really enjoy that advertisement. It's debatable whether or not things like anxiety and depression are emotions at all. You know what's not debatable? Your ability to heal. You know what's not debatable? Your ability to change your life if you're willing to do so. Those things are not debatable. Our minds in the sensitized state will literally do anything to bluff you and make you overthink, obsess. Absolutely true. How do we get better at awareness when you're in your shit? Hold yourself accountable. Right? What am I doing? Am I still doing my bad habits? Am I still giving into my bad habits? Get into a habit of basically holding yourself to that accountability. Subconsciously project someone else's health issues, such as a parent, as your own, or because you've seen them go through health issues, you were concerned. Yeah, I mean, you can pick up on certain things and continue to freak yourself out over those things. And when those things come to the surface and you begin to worry about them, that's where your direct involvement should come into play, and you should start to hold yourself accountable for that. But I think it's possible that with enough repeated seeing of something, you could convince yourself, oh, God, you know, what if that happens to me, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's pretty much possible with anybody. Yeah, just like Steph said. Just like Steph said. Where did our music go? There we go. There we go. Want to do the work, yes. Want to do the work. Want to do the work because you deserve better. Want to do the work because you deserve a better life. You know, so forth and so on. Want to do the work. I'm a hypochondriac. I feel like most people are at some point during their anxiety journey, right? Anxiety and sadness are emotions. One way you could word that is sadness, fear, right? Fear, anxiety, hand in hand, really. Hi, hello. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing? My girlfriend and I worked that thing out. Nice, dude. I'm happy for you. I would say you could label it as whatever you want to label it, David. I don't think it's neither helpful nor hurtful, as long as you're doing what you need to do to work on yourself. I don't think it's, you know, it's kind of irrelevant. That's my opinion. So I was anxious about nothing. Again, I knew it. The amount of times I've heard that, right? Even, yeah, I mean, the amount of times I've heard that. Even before anxiety, if I got a runny nose, I was dying, yes. This all sounds so common. Stretch, big stretch. Love you. Love you too. I don't know if I've seen your name before, but you know what? I love you too. Sensitized nerves and bad habits, better way to view it. Yeah. Again, you can view it however you want to view it. As long as you're doing the work on yourself, doesn't matter. A lot of things are irrelevant when it comes down to the fact that as long as you're doing the work on yourself, that's what we care about. Right? That's what we care about. All right, guys, we're wrapping this on up in just a few minutes. Give me just a second, then we're going to finish this one strong. Cassie, hello. Thank you so much for the $6 tip. That takes us to 26. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. Show her some love. And the chat says, today sucks. I'm going to still go to work. Anxiety can go jump. Yes, do what you need to do. Use the skills. It might be a rough day, but it is a practice day. Give me just a second, and then we're going to finish this one up strong, guys. Thank you for the 26 on the tip goal. Show some love in the chat. Oh, I was muted. Let's finish this one out strong. Let's see. I think one of the problems I feel is like I'm not doing things right or missing something, but I do my best to come back to two keys. Even if it feels like it's not working or I don't get it. Even if it feels like it's not working or you don't get it, that's when you come back to non-rumination. That's when you come back to telling those thoughts that are very tempting to follow, that you're not actually going to fight them and you're not actually going to ruminate. Keep it up, Elliot, and doing good, even though you don't think you are. Doing my best, Scott. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Just get so down on myself sometimes. If you notice that you fall into these deep, deep pits of rumination and obsession about where you are and how you're doing, right? That is part of the problem. And if you stay out of those pits of rumination about, oh, doing this and doing that and how's it working and recovery, that is only going to help you get closer to recovery. Elliot is about to get a pep talk in the Discord after this. Anxiety is a bubble that compresses, then compresses even more as you fight it. That's an interesting way to view that, Sim. I agree. Actually, I agree. Winterbro got a nice setup over there, chilling. We've definitely made upgrades to the setup. We have definitely made upgrades to the setup. Thanks for noticing. Go into the dog park? Nice, Paul. Just take the skills with you, dude. Take the skills with you. Check in with us. Let us know how that goes. You guys can always feel free to keep us updated. That's the ticket. I love it. All right, guys, we are wrapping this one up. Thank you so much for being here. This was a packed stream. This is probably the most people we've had in a stream in quite some time. So thank you so much for everybody coming out, showing your support, showing your love. Thank you for all the interesting comments. Thank you for all the positivity. You know, people like Scott who stops by and shows their love to the stream, man. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for that. Stops by and shares their success. It's very motivating to other people. It's very encouraging to other people. So thank you for doing that, Scott. I appreciate it. Thank you to everybody else who watched, who liked the stream, supported. Really, really appreciate you guys. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything that you do. But I believe that's going to be it. I don't really have any channel news to go over other than follow me on the TikTok, Vacate Fear. We're trying to get to 1,000 followers over there so that we can start going live on that platform. We just started out on that, so follow me over there on the TikTok, Vacate Fear. I think that's it. If you're interested in coaching, reach out to me, DM me. We'll see if we can make it happen. Other than that, good stream, guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for everything. We didn't hit the tip goal. That's okay. 24-day streak. It's a pretty damn good streak. So we didn't quite hit that today. That is fine. Let's see. So thank you guys so much for everything. Thank you for being here. I love you, and I believe that's it. Until next time, as always, right there, stay awesome.